Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
Hi, Aaron. I'm sorry in advance for the long email. Don't worry, the longer you guys take, I make more money. I'm a long-time subscriber and a repeat customer. My first request was one you sent to Matt Baldoni 2 years ago. His video was extremely helpful, but I've decided to go a different direction. I need some help with that direction, though, which is why I'm writing you. I would like a video response from you this time. I put in parentheses some information I would like you to know, but ask that you don't share it in the video. I'm a 35-year-old single guy, never married, no kids. I bounced around a lot in college and ended up with $140,000 in school debt with a bachelor's degree in business. I made it a point not to raise my standard of living when I graduated 6 years ago. I did not want to be a wage slave, so my goal has been to pay off my debt as fast as possible. So I got something stuck in my teeth. After a lot of sacrifice, I'll be completely debt-free coming this February. Awesome! I moved to my current location, which is not a small town, 6 years ago. And my current job, I make about $100,000 a year. I'm extremely frugal. I spend about $20,000 per year net. My original plan was to just live here until my debt was paid off, get some work experience, and move someplace else, any place else other than here. It's boring as hell here. Everyone does the same thing year in and year out. I feel like Bill Murray in the movie Groundhog Day. Every day is the same. And if you hate mountains and hate water and prefer to live in some place where it is flat for miles and miles, this is a place for you. Well, I piss. Don't eat almonds, it makes your mouth water. What I hadn't anticipated, though, was how living so frugally for so long was going to change me. Paying off my debt has almost made me become an obsession. I keep a detailed Excel spreadsheet that tracks every expense, documents every payment, and allows me to run all kinds of projections. I could actually live on less than $12,000 a year, but I give myself some breathing room so I don't hang myself from the bed, boredom and monotony. I can't believe what a moron I was in my 20s when I racked up this debt. The irony is that in order to pay off the debt, I ended up creating a life that I don't want to live once it's paid off. I don't want to be living in the state I live in. I feel the industry I work in provides no value to people. Oh, dude, throw that one out. Let's stop being a 21-year-old college girl thinking you're going to change the world and you should do moral shit. Okay, throw that one out. Every job is pretty much pointless. There are very few worthwhile jobs. Private sector or public sector. Okay, you're getting paid for you to give them parts of your finite life. So go to sleep well on that one that you're very highly compensated. And I've sacrificed more than half of my 30s to be debt-free. Well, most people sacrifice their entire lives to not even become debt-free. I haven't dated any girl since I've been here. I barely have a social life. I keep telling myself I could start my life once the loans are paid off. It feels like I'm doing a prison sentence, except at least in prison they get conjugal visits. The opportunity cost may have been too much, though. I would like to get married and have kids at some point, but I feel like that window is closing fast. And even though I would like to live somewhere else, I still feel stuck. I don't think I could easily make $100,000 a year somewhere else. The job I have is somewhat unique and wouldn't pay nearly as much somewhere else. I'm also concerned that starting over somewhere else could make getting married and having kids that much harder because I'd be delaying it even further. If I'm debt-free, I wouldn't have to make as much money as I do now. But I feel that walking away from such a high-paying job could be a mistake. The job itself is mind-numbing, but it's pretty low maintenance. Every job is. Every job is. I work from home several days a week. The commute is quick on the days that I do work in the office. I work 40 hours a week. I don't have to take anything home with me. I don't work overtime. I don't have to travel. I'm given a lot of autonomy. My boss is a great guy who doesn't micromanage me. So I am torn. Do I move somewhere else when my loans are paid off? The thought of living somewhere else and doing a different job without the burden of debt sounds really exciting after living like a monk for 6 years. Or do I stick it out here with this job after I'm debt-free? Financially, it makes sense to stay, but thinking about staying is really depressing. Guys, you could save so much money if instead of hyper-analyzing each and every possible outcome and decision, you give me the generals, you give me what you want in life, and I can troubleshoot it from there. But you see, on Tuesdays, now if I take the train at 1:46 p.m., that'll arrive at a little bit, but now the traffic though, if I do stay here, I'm seriously thinking of working to become financially independent. Well, that's the only reason you would stay there. I can't see myself working in this job or any job until I'm 65. Last year I came across the book Early Retirement Extreme by Jacob Lumfisker. Yes, good book. You even reviewed the book in one of your videos. Yes, I did. That book blew my mind and exposed me to the possibility of retiring early, at least becoming financially independent. I would still like to work. I just like the freedom to pursue jobs that interest me regardless of pay. I've spent the last year reading a ton of books and blogs, listening to countless podcasts on the subject. I also read Bachelor Pad Economics and Reconnaissance. Man, did you read Poor Richard's Retirement? I've crunched the numbers, and I could be financially independent in about 5 to 6 years. So I'd be 42 or 43 years old. I have the discipline to do it, but the thought of spending another 5 to 6 years living here and doing this job sounds terrible and a waste of my life. Do I stay here and sacrifice an additional 4 to 6 years if it means I could be financially independent for the rest of my life? I'm not a materialistic person, so the income I'm making now could go a long way. Getting my FU money, I know I have to start living my life at some point. I had an uncle who worked his whole life, never got married, and had a few $1 million saved when he retired. Then he got Alzheimer's. All of his money went towards paying for live-in nurses who took care of him until he died. There has to be a middle ground. I really appreciate your insight. Thanks. I'm not going through your details. I'm not. I'm going to trust your math. One, if the withdrawal. Okay, yeah, that's the early retirement extreme option. Your 4% withdrawal rule, and you need a little bit more than $500,000. So you can do that. Option 2, kept your job and temporarily worked another part-time job. You could potentially bring in another $20,000 a year, investing $80,000 allows you to get the $640,000 in 5.46 years. Option 3, consider buying a duplex. If you rent it out on one side and get a roommate living in it, all expenses be paid. If you free up $20,000 you need to live, at $100,000 you could get to $640,000 in 4.5 years. Recession proof. I have a plan to have 1 year's worth of emergency funds in the bank. When the next recession hits, I should be able to stretch that out for 2 years just by working part-time based on one of your graphs. Bachelor Pad Economics, the longest time people were out of work in 2008 was 40 weeks, so an emergency fund that can be stretched out for 2 years, give me plenty of time to let my investment. Okay, you're way the fuck hyper analyzing this, and this fucking mentality problem you got is gonna fucking cripple you. You're gonna become your uncle with the Alzheimer's the day after you got your 2.5 million. So here's what you're gonna do. Yes, pay off your loans because that's gonna put you in a great position. And I would not give up your job. However, and I'm not necessarily against you moving out from the place you're currently at, but right now, you have not done any research as to where you'd go and what you would do. And the worst thing you could possibly do is give up a 6-figure-a-year job with no debt and a job that's easy to do with lots of freedom. I've seen this happen in the military. Yeah, I was in the military and I was a captain and and it sucked, and I got out. Oh, damn! I can't find a job. It's like, well, did you avail yourself of the educational opportunity? No. So you're going to need to have a plan to go. Now, this is the plan I'm going to recommend you do. You keep going on your current plan to pay off your student loans, okay? And you're debt-free. You keep working, but since you have a lot of free time and spare time, you're in a town that you can fly rather quickly to cool places like Denver and Salt Lake City, and well, Rapid City is a pretty expensive flight, but you could fly there if you wanted to. Dallas, Kansas City, and what you're going to do is you're going to go and explore these towns on your weekend. That's your next goal, okay? You say, well, that's expensive and that'll cost money. Yes, it will cost money, but you have no debt. And you're making 6 figures, so while you're making the money and it doesn't put you back into debt, you're going to invest your time and money and resources, not all of it, of course, be frugal, into at least exploring this country a little bit. And the first book you're reading is Reconnaissance, man. I'm not saying that because I make more money off of that sale. I'm saying because I make more money off of that sale, and it's the specific book that you're going to find. It'll give you details and specifics, and look at it'll triage down the best places. But yeah, I'd be flying out west. I'd be flying to Florida. I'd be flying to Vegas. I'd be flying to Phoenix. I'd be checking out all these different areas, so that when you find a place, you're like, inevitably you are done, you want to leave this place, you know at least where you want to go. Then, once you find a town that you would like to live in, like, oh, maybe Denver's really cool, or, oh, I really like Dallas, then you can start throwing resumes there, because you don't know that you couldn't make six figures in these places. I'm going to believe you and say, yeah, your job sounds unique enough that you probably couldn't repeat that in another place. But you don't know that. Life might surprise you. So once you have your student loans paid off, and you've traveled around, we're not sending out resumes at this stage. We're not worrying about finances. We're not worrying about money. We're not worrying about girls. You're just going to book some cheap-ass flights on Spirit Airlines, and you're going to go with a rental car, and you're going to go drive around and explore this country and figure out where your next step is going to be. Once you find out, oh my God, I love Flagstaff, Arizona, then you're going to send out the resumes, right? Now, maybe you'd like to work up a little bit more money. I mean, this reconnaissance you're going to do of the United States is at least going to take a year. At least. And in the book, it details why. I'm not going to go into the Bible, but it's a big-ass country. It's going to take a long-ass time. If you're going to do a decent job of it and not immediately fall in love with the place and find out later on that its long-term fundamentals suck, it's going to take you at least a year to do this. So if you do it wisely and smartly, and you get some cheap flights, you do it long enough out, you go opposite of tourist season, you should be able to still save up some money. Even, let's say, I don't know, a year goes by, you could save up 20 grand cash. I would even consider working your job a little bit while longer. So like, let's say you find out Flagstaff is the greatest town you ever wanted to live in. And boy, you'd like to live there now, but you're only sitting on 20 grand cash. What I would do is probably work another couple years while the iron is hot, and save up at least enough money for you to put a hefty down payment or pay half for a house. Because this is the place you're going to live and permanently reside in, okay, for the rest of your life. When we can't say that, but that's kind of the next goal. So you're going to find this next place, and then you're going to go and you're going to find a job after that. So once you've worked up enough of a money of a war chest that you can go and buy a place in this new town you want to move to, then you start hitting that place with resumes. And it might take a year or two for you to find a job. Well, you keep working this job in the place you hate and saving up the money, because that's only going to improve your position. It may happen that there are no jobs in the place you're absolutely in love with. Well, then you better find a second place. Have option 1, 2, and 3. So that's what I would do, is you're going to explore and travel and find out where you belong next. And then until you find a job there that pays a decent amount of money, you're going to keep working this job, because it's only going to make the rest of your life easier. And I know you think that by the age of 42, I'll be so old. And yeah, you'll be old. You'll be old like me. Life isn't over. But damn, it sure be nice to have $250K sitting there. I mean, heck, you think you can save up the money for retirement by that time. 6 years or so. But you're not. You are going to spend a significant percentage of your fund, your budget is going to go towards travel. And you can't even call it travel. It's a job. You're going to go and do reconnaissance. That's why I named the book Reconnaissance, man. Everybody keeps thinking, oh, it's not that good of a book. But then I get questions that it was designed to answer. And so that's what that would be my game plan. I wouldn't worry about save for retirement, contribute to your IRA, follow some principles of early retirement extreme. But that's not your main goal. Money is no longer your main goal right now. Once you pay off your debts, retirement is not your main goal, right? It's finding out where you're going to live next. And then girls, that has nothing to do with your financial planning. If you want to get married and have kids, they're not going to tolerate this, and your finances are going to be thrown into havoc after this, because kids cost money, and it's going to delay early retirement extreme. But if you want to start meeting girls, and this is the other thing I'd start recommending you do, The town you're in is not that small. I've been there. There's shit to do. There's other places nearby. Major metros you can road trip to easily in half a day. There are activities. There is fossil hunting. I've been to that town in that state, and it is not that bad of a town. You haven't explored it. I understand if you've been there for several years, things start to get boring, but you really haven't expanded your horizons. That is a great state for cycling, pedal biking, and motorcycle riding. And there's a major town to the south and a major town to the north. There's kind of a town to your west, but there's not really much there. What's to your... Yeah, there's nothing to your east. But that town is big enough, you should be able to find meetup groups, people, and you need to. You need to start interacting with humans, all right? It is a Herculean, outstanding, and amazing thing you've done paying off that much student loans. But you are running the risk of becoming a robot if you don't start meeting people. And if you can't meet people and be social in a town that big, and I understand, you're not going to find parties and woo, women will become moot and academic. All right? I don't know if you noticed this, women don't ask out men. You gotta hunt them down. And if you can't even go find like a trivia night at a pub in that town, you're certainly not gonna find women, right? So go ballroom dancing, join the motorcycling club, join the Masons, go do whatever it is. Do not tell me that you have turned up every stone in that town. Because I did. I listed off like 3 things you could do in that area. All right, and then that is going to make it so your life isn't so boring and sucky. You might discover a whole new underground world you didn't know about that town. Say, geez, why did I want to leave here? Because, it's cheap to fly to all these great places, but I found this great community that does crocheting, and I didn't know I had such a passion for it. I met my wife there, and she runs an alpaca farm or something, all right? So you need to get out there and explore a little bit more. And you have the time. If you're only doing 40 hours a week, because once you make your money, that's it. You can't just sit there and, I'm saving money. I can't just, it will drive you nuts. So that's what I would do. You're going to explore your local town a little bit more thoroughly and the Tri-County area. And then you will also go and fly to different places, which if you want to save a lot of time and money instead of randomly approaching it in a chaotic fashion, I'd strongly recommend you read Reconnaissance Man. And then I would, as long as you're not going back into debt and you're saving money, you can let go of the math now, all right? You've learned your lesson. Now the mistake you are approaching life is you're approaching it like a computer programming problem, and you will miss out on everything like your uncle did, approaching it as such. Life is way too dynamic and involves way too many people that it is not a cold algebraic formula. So, all right, I'll put, you guys can look it up, Reconnaissance Man. I'm not going to put the link down below. I'll put the link down below for all my other stuff, including a link to all of my books. Be down in the stuff below. If you guys need consultation, go to assholeconsulting.com. And then, what else? Everything's down below. Click on the links below. I'm not going to go through it. All right, we'll see you guys later. Toodles.